welcome back to another Outdoor Philosophy. Well, last time I was talking about the planning and how I was doing a little bit of changes in the background just to make myself a little bit more efficient. And I mentioned in there the book, The Power of Focus, and I thought I had done an outdoor philosophy on that book, but apparently I have not. So that's why it was not linked in that last video. I thought I did. It must be that I read it last year or 2 years ago, but I didn't actually record the videos on it. I mean, I know I did First Things First by Stephen Covey, and I know I did Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. I thought I did Power of Focus, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I just read it again because I do read it every few years just to keep up to date on the thing and whatever. And so I thought, I don't think we're going to go through and read it and do a whole video series on it, unless you guys really want me to. It is probably my favorite book in the self-help genre, business motivation genre. It is probably the book that has been one of the most impactful for me. In fact, that is the book I was reading when 9/11 happened. But it was a brand new book. It had just come out, or actually I think I was in a reading club that we got it before it actually hit the publication. So I remember I was reading it at that time, and it's just such a powerful book. It's written by, what's the gentleman that does the Chicken Soup for the Soul series? Les Hewitt, and there's three authors. I forget. Three really good, Jack Canfield, Les Hewitt, and there's one other guy in there as well. And it's just a fabulous book that really covers a lot of good tips. And what I liked about it the most is that it's not theoretical. A lot of these books are very theoretical, but this one is very practical. It's very down to earth. They give us real information, real steps, real action plans, real guidance, and of course, like all other books in its genre, it's there to sell their courses or their business strategies or things like that. But it doesn't feel like you have to go off and buy those extra things in order to get the most out of it. There are new reprints of the book done, and what I focused on last time is talk about the Be Alert system. Today I actually want to just focus on one other aspect of that, because it's one that I think is very important, but many of us overlook and don't do enough, and that's just getting a little bit of exercise every day. And this is kind of important because as we live our life, especially as you get older, and some people say, you hit this wall of 40 and your body just starts to fall apart and things like this. That may or may not be true, but I think more often than not, that's a function of how much exercise we get in our life. Are we actually doing things that will help us to keep our bodies in good shape so we don't fall apart? It's kind of like if you go out to a car lot, you got a lot of money, say, and you buy two identical cars, same year, same time, same everything. They've been driven down the same test driving routes. They're exactly identical in either ways. You buy them both and you set one in your driveway and you never drive it. And then the other one you get in, you drive as a daily driver. Which one is going to last longer for you? Well, it's actually the one that you're driving around. Sure, driving the car causes the car to lose some of its value, but failing to drive the car, it fails to keep the engine lubricated, it fails to keep the brakes going. Like we have a car right now where I'm at that hasn't moved for a long time. I'm wondering if it's somehow connected to the gentleman who recently passed away, but this car sat in the lot and didn't move for a long time. And you can tell because you start looking at the rotors of the brakes, and the rotors start having all these rust spots in it. Well, the car that's being driven doesn't gain rust on those rotors because it's constantly being used and smoothed and driven out. The engine is constantly having oil run through it and fuel run through it. You're actually keeping the car in better shape, not by driving it hundreds and thousands. Like, this is another issue. You can take exercise too far. If you wake up and you exercise and you exercise and you exercise and you never give your body a rest, yeah, you will actually hurt yourself. In fact, back in the 70s, there was a guy named Jim Fixx who's like, we're running, we're going to stay as healthy as we can. This dude ran everywhere. He ran everywhere. I mean, he was just the running king. He died of a heart attack when he was like 40. Not cool. He might have been a little older than that, but it wasn't significantly older. It wasn't like 60. It was still very young. He overworked his body. So yeah, you can get a car and overdrive it. But if you get a car, two cars identical, in fact, maybe let's do three cars. One of them you just completely overdrive it. The other one you just do your basic driving. You get it on the interstate, you get it up to speed for a little while, drive that down. You're doing some basic stuff. It's getting the whole spectrum of workout, just driving it, but it's not excessively driven, it's not underdriven. You get the one guy that's just not being driven at all. That one's actually going to rust out way sooner. And I kind of decided very early in my life, I made this observation when I was quite young. I said, you know what? I'd rather wear out than rust out. And that's unfortunately what happens to most Americans is we rust out. We might get up and walk a little bit, just the bare minimum that we can, as slow as conceivably possible, many of us. And that causes us to rust out. We're not using our bodies the way they're supposed to be used. We're not giving ourselves a good workout. We're not running. We're not exercising our lungs. We're not weightlifting. We're not exercising our muscles. And it's so important to make sure you build that type of stuff in. Not to the excessive extreme as to wear yourself out, but you got to get every day, get a little bit in. It could be something as little as taking a brisk walk, but when you walk, put some conscious effort into walking faster. Even when you're going through the grocery store, put the conscious effort of walking faster. Just walk a little bit quicker. Do specific brisk walks for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. Throw on an audiobook. Of course, you can check out all my audiobooks on Audible. $15 a month? You get 2 free audiobooks a month with that $15 a month subscription, or you can just buy them out. I'll leave some links to my audiobooks down there if you want to read a book and walk and stuff. You can listen to whatever you want to listen to, music, talks, sermons. Self-help motivation is a great thing to do as well. But build yourself in some time every day if you can to get a brisk walk in there, get some exercise going. If you have the ability, do some type of strength training as well. That could be as little as getting one of these elastic bands and holding the elastic band over your leg and just do one of these. That's good for building up your muscle strength. If you can, you can get a gym membership or just buy some free weights. They're pretty cheap and you can usually find some on Craigslist or wherever else online as well. So there's other options to get some strength training in, get some aerobic exercise in, maybe take a jog every once in a while. Now, it's not good to actually run excessive amounts, but at the same time, we want to jog and run enough to keep our cardiovascular shape and condition. So make sure you're building in time every day, or at least 5 days a week. I actually plan 5 days a week, although usually I get something solid in 6 or even 7 days a week. But I specifically plan for exercises, being at weights or running or walking 5 days a week in just different accounts. So make sure you're building time to exercise in, because what's going to happen, you might say, oh, I hurt too much to exercise, whatever else. Obviously, if you had some injury or some other reason you want to get into it more, you might need a physical therapist. You might need to consult a doctor to see what degree you can walk or exercise. If you're like seriously overweight or whatever else, swimming is the best exercise. You just get in there and just do some aerobic exercises there. You can actually find things at local YMCAs or whatever else to help get that type of exercise going. Just start doing something. So if you're way super out of shape, just start doing something small. If you're in decent shape, there's no problem with going out and just starting to add a little bit of exercise into your day. But I hear people a lot saying, oh, I'm just getting too old or whatever else. It's honestly a lot of that, not every bit, but most of that is an excuse. Stop making excuses and go out and make stuff happen instead. I'm a lot older than I look. I don't divulge my age at all, so don't ask. But I was talking to a friend the other day, and he's like, well, how old are you? Like, you're that old? Like, yeah, I'm actually pretty old. But I don't look it, because I've always run, I've always walked, I've always exercised, I've always taken good vitamins, I've always eaten right. Now, outside this little period of time when I got really kind of fat, but outside of that short period of time, I spent about 3-5 years pretty fat, but outside of that, I've been pretty good. And that's why I look as young. But you hear people going, oh, I'm just too old for that or whatever else. It's like, no, you feel this way not because you're getting old. You feel this way because you're starting to rust out. But I can tell when that car's been moved, because you get into the car, you start driving it, and I can see the rotors start to shine again. And that's what's going to happen in your body. You start getting some exercise, you're going to start, sure, the first few days is going to hurt a little bit, but then you're going to start feeling better on average every day. You're going to find yourself more active. You're going to find yourself running more and walking more. You're going to find yourself walking faster. you're going to find that you are in a lot better shape if you just take the time to build some exercise into your plan every single day. That is one of those steps that is in the Power of Focus, particularly on that Be Alert system I talked about last time. That exercise part is in there. And I just want to encourage everybody, make sure you're getting some time out. Find yourself a park, find yourself some woods, walk down the street, wherever you happen to be. Just get out and do some exercise. Try and get it at least 5 days a week. That'd be the best thing you can ever possibly do. So thanks for coming along on this outdoor philosophy. Again, check a look at those audiobooks in the description down below on Audible. You can also pick them up on any other place you can pick up audiobooks usually. So you can grab those guys, throw them on your phone, your MP3 players, whatever it happens to be, and just get out there and get some exercise going. So thanks for coming along, and I hope that you enjoy your daily walk in our Lord.